Welcome back. Bongekile Simelane, the stage name Babes Wodumo, has reportedly gone to police to press charges against Kwaito star Mandla Maphumulo, who goes under the stage name Mampintsha. The Simelane family has also called a press briefing for tomorrow. Let's take a look at the video that's had South Africa talking all day today. Please note we've lowered the sound in places due to vulgar language, and the images alone may upset sensitive viewers. Well, that sparked a massive outcry after it was shown on a live stream on social media. Then this statement was released, allegedly by both Babes and Mandla. It reads, "Babes and I were overwhelmed by the level of response we generated through our pre-planned domestic violence video clip. We would like to categorically state that the video was done by both of us and we planned it thoroughly and no one was hurt in the process. We did it to highlight violence against women." That is the statement that was released today. You may remember last year Metro FM host Masachaba and Ndlovu interviewed Babes Wodumo about allegations of domestic violence. Let's take a look at some of that interview.
I said I wasn't going to do this. But Babes, you know, I think it needs to be said because I hate to see a young woman as talented, as smart as you, living in so much fear. Babes Wodumo, right? You don't have to answer this question, but we all know, because we've heard from multiple sources, people who've witnessed the fact that you have been physically abused by Mampintsha. That he has beaten you in your relationship. And right now, and I'm sorry, but right now you're sitting here, you're scared and you're worried about what's going to happen next. Because you told us a tiny little truth, which is the fact that he went onto your Instagram and posted a picture without your permission. And it's deeper than that. And I can see it in your eyes, you're still suffering. And I don't want you to continue to suffer. Mampintsha has no right to put his hands on you. It's unacceptable.
Well, all through today, there have been several attempts by politicians and police to lay a case. Let's listen now to what the police's Vish Naidu's had to say on this in just the last hour.
What I can confirm for now is that we as the SABC, following this posting on social media of this video that has gone viral, obviously, we opened what is called an inquiry docket, which allows us to initiate an investigation. And in that process, we've been calling upon the victim on that video to come forward and open a case with us or to provide us with a statement. Now, even when that is done, unfortunately, I will not confirm or deny if she has come forward. Now, this is primarily because there was aggressive assault taking place on the victim. We don't want to put the victim in any greater danger or any risk should she come forward and provide information to us. Should that happen, the normal course of investigation the investigation will take its course, and on completion of the investigation, we will approach a prosecutor for a decision on this matter.
Well, someone else who has spoken about this today is Babes' father, the Reverend Bongekile Simelane. He spoke to SABC this afternoon.
My daughter called me when I was sleeping. My eldest daughter, she is a manager of Babes Wodumo Entertainment. So she told me that, Teddy, let's rush to Westville where Babe and Mampintsha are sitting there together. They stay together there. So there's something that's circulating in the social media that Mampintsha is fighting with Babes. So I had to wake up with my family, my wife and my daughter, that is Babes Wodumo's manager. We went straight to Westville, where Mampintsha is staying. When we came in there, my daughter was crying. She was telling me that what everybody all South Africans saw in the social media is real. Whereas Mampintsha now is refusing that anything happens, is calling that a fake something, as if they were playing. Whereas I want to put a record straight to everybody who's looking at me that what they saw circulating in the social media was real. It was not the first time. I think it's the third time, if I'm not mistaken, that came to me. That's what I know. So I've tried to cool my daughter down, and Mampintsha was going around with his nephews, and one small guy there was trying to attack me.
Well, that's the absolute latest on this story. To discuss more about what's happened today, I'm joined on the line by the Minister of Arts and Culture, Nathi Mthethwa. Minister, good evening to you. Thank you for your time tonight on SABC News. You've been watching this play out throughout the day. What's your reaction to it all?
Well, thank you for having us. My reaction is exactly what you said earlier on, that this is a broader problem and a scourge in society. It's at the heart of the social ills, and it has to be fought with the same zeal and zest we used to fight against racism. And it's basically what we're experiencing on this gender-based violence is a twisted logic of patriarchal power relations in our society. And as it raises its ugly head, we need to nip it in the bud. In the final analysis, the victim has an obligation to press for charges with the law enforcement agencies, and we as society should actually give support. Other people have been arguing that no, but we saw the video and so on, video clip and so on. Yes, that can be used as part of the evidence in the court of law. But as things stand, the victim should report, because even if there is nothing which says that the police cannot initiate the process of investigating, as you had the officer who spoke there. But in the final analysis, there has to be this consent from a victim.
Minister, it's all very well, and I think there'll be many people who will listen to you tonight and hear you and think that you're absolutely right. There is an obligation on the victim to go and report. But we all know how victims, unfortunately, are treated when they go to police stations. You, of course, yourself, sir, have some experience of the police ministry. You will know there's plenty of research that shows that our police officers, male police officers and female police officers, unfortunately, don't treat victims of domestic violence, sexual assault or rape as they should.
Look, there are problems, and I agree with you on that. Sometimes the lack of sensitivity when the police officers are dealing with people who are victims of violence, especially domestic violence and sexual offences, as it were. But I can assure you that the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit is working in the police. There is a bigger problem, though in society, and I wish at some point our people, or through you, the media and so on, can get even the head of this unit, because there are people who are sent to prison year in, year out, and perhaps one of the things that as government generally, we do not communicate as much as we should as a deterrent. But all those people who were sent to prison, to correctional services, are people who would take this very first step and actually report the matter. So I am saying that let us support the victims, at the same time raising the matters we see as gaps within the system itself, but there can't be any excuse of people abusing women, because this has a pernicious effect to the entire society, as it were.
Minister, there are men tonight who have been tweeting us here at SABC News and tweeting my colleague Sepiso, saying that they support Mampintsha. What do you say to those men? You've seen the video. We've all just seen the video. It's so graphic, we actually have to put a warning before we play it of a man hitting a woman. What do you say to men tonight who are supporting Mampintsha on Twitter?
Well, as I said, it's a logic, a very twisted one. And that's why it has to be confronted. It's a patriarchal logic, which has no basis whatsoever. In fact, thinking that way is thinking criminally. Unfortunately, in society, we do have criminals, and we do have criminal-minded people. And they must be called for what they are, because if we don't do that as society, we would be left with an egg on our face that we couldn't, protect the vulnerable in our society. They are men, as we are saying, and they are using their power, using it wrongly, the power which is supposed to protect and safeguard women. They are using that to oppress, beat, and basically subjugate women. And there is no way that as a constitutional democracy, and as a democracy which is building a nation based on non-racialism, on non-sexism, that will allow this gender-based violence to continue in our society. They must be challenged themselves, those men, because they are not helpful at all in building this nation.
Minister, I'm sure you've been in this situation. I think almost every man has, where you will know of someone being abused. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you'll hear it. And to intervene is an incredibly difficult thing to do. It often leads to more violence. It often leads to a situation where people are scared of, to use a phrase, being dragged into something they don't know the history of or don't understand. Do you have advice for men in that position? If they know someone is being abused, what should they do?
Well, maybe before the advice, I just want to confirm what you say, that people, for whatever reason, I'm certain that it's still the case even now. Whenever you are approaching a weekend, like Friday and so on, you'll have a lot of people going to police stations to press charges on domestic violence and so on. But at the end of the weekend, they come back and withdraw those. I would want to make a plea and advice to men that society looks up to them. To be these protectors, men have always been of their society, of the vulnerable in society. And they should actually participate, and society at large, participate in encouraging people to have courage, especially victims, to have courage to come forward, report these matters, so that slowly but surely people see action taken against the perpetrators. And in that way, we are going to see a deterrent of what is happening.
Minister, there'll be someone who's watching this, who's listening to you speak now, who is herself a victim of abuse. Your advice to them, to get out, to go to the police, to go to somewhere safe if they can? They can't stay and just sit there and be abused forever?
Don't allow yourself to be abused forever. Don't be a victim on a continuous basis, because it starts with arguments. It goes to people smacking somebody, and then it's a full-blown beating. Later on, somebody dies. So let's not wait for that period that people get killed in the process. Report the matter, but also the neighbors should stop saying that, no, it's a private matter. It can't be a private matter when it's a matter which affects society. And society must take a stand and say no to women abuse, no to gender-based violence.
And Minister, you are now the Minister of Arts and Culture. Can your ministry do very much to change this culture of patriarchy? We're talking about something that is deep-rooted in our society. We're not the only society it's deep-rooted in, but it's particularly deep-rooted in our society. Where do you start in uprooting that culture of patriarchy that leads to this?
It's It's a process. It's a multi-pronged approach which we need as society. We need law enforcement agencies, but over and above that, we need awareness to the level of national consciousness. That is why we initiated this process when we saw the spike of the femicide in our society. That in 2017 we called the National Summit in Soweto and said, let's have both men and women. Let's deal with this thing. Let's not wait for it to happen and continue to happen. What is it that we can do? So we can do better as society if we initiate these conversations in our communities and not turn a blind eye. In that way, we'll be able to confront it. But if we turn a blind eye and act as if it doesn't happen in our society, when we know it's happening, we are burying our head in the sand.
Minister, I do want to say thank you for your time. I do want to let you go, but before I do that, if I may ask you just to stay on for one last moment. We have had confirmation now, breaking news here tonight, that the singer Babes Wodumo has opened an assault case against her partner, Kwaito star Mandla Maphumulo, who goes under the stage name Mampintsha. Minister, if I can, while we've still got you, your reaction to that? Are you pleased that she's now done what you've asked her to do?
I'm very, very happy. Thanks to Babes Wodumo. I encourage other women to do the same, because that's the only way we're going to uproot this scourge in our society. Thank you very much, Babes, wherever you are.
Minister, thank you very much indeed.